to engage in this kind of behavior outside of the confines of marriage is in flat contradiction to all that God ordained for your well-being. This behavior is contrary to everything that you profess, and it is potentially self-destructing. You understand our position, we don't approve of it, and we will never mention it again. She lived, as far as I remember, with her boyfriend for about a couple of years, and then one day her younger brother got married, and she was invited to be part of the wedding service. And when she stood there in this wedding service and was reminded of Christian marriage and the beauty of two believers coming together in holy matrimony, with her father presiding over the wedding, she burst into tears, rushed to her dad, and said, "I'm sorry, I was wrong. Can I come home?" There's an example. There's an example of sweet reasonableness. So we rejoice in the Lord, and instead of attacking and resisting and resenting the things that are inducing the anxiety, we begin to handle them with a sense of the fact that the Lord is in this thing. The rather terse, somewhat enigmatic reminder on the part of the Apostle Paul here, the Lord is near. That's what he said. The Lord is near. The term that he uses here can mean near either in terms of time or in terms of space. And probably he used this expression in this way so that both could be applied. What that would mean is this: bear in mind that the Lord is near to you spatially. He is present with you in the situation. That's the first understanding of it. And the second thing is, and the Lord is near in terms of time. That was a technical expression. The coming of the Lord draws near. The reminder that the Lord is working according to his timetable and is working inexorably towards the consummation and completion of his kingdom. Put these two things together. The fact that the Lord is present with you in the situation and the reminder that he is working in the affairs of men to the consummation of his own plan and purpose, guess what will happen? You put that into your thinking, and you'll begin to discover that some of the painful uneasiness is beginning to dissipate. As you rejoice in the Lord, as you respond with sweet reasonableness, and as you bear in mind the proximity both of the Lord in your life and of his soon return. But then the fourth thing he gives us: do not be anxious for anything, but in everything, in prayer and supplication with thanksgiving, let your requests be made known unto God. Now, this word that is translated from the Greek into the English word anxious also finds its way into Philippians earlier on and is translated quite differently. Speaking of Timothy, Paul said this: I have no one else like him who takes a genuine interest in your welfare. And the word interest there means he is genuinely concerned for you. Now, when does legitimate concern become illegitimate worry? That perhaps is the big question. The same word is used in two entirely different senses, one positive, one negative here. Let me try to help clarify this. When does legitimate concern become illegitimate worry and anxiety? Let me suggest this. Legitimate concern becomes unhealthy worry and anxiety when concern is focused on the things we think can secure our lives, when only God can. I'll give you that again. Legitimate concern becomes unhealthy worry and anxiety when the concern is focused on the things we think can secure our lives, when only God can. Let me give you an example of this. In the Sermon on the Mount, Jesus talked to the people, and he said, now you're all anxious about what you're going to eat. And he said, look at the birds of the air. They get fed, don't they? Your heavenly Father's caring for them. And now you're all worried about what you're going to wear, aren't you? Well, look at the flowers of the field. Aren't they gorgeous? Your Heavenly Father's looking after them, isn't he? Oh, and he said, and you're worried about extending your life, your fitness. Now he said, how many of you by worrying can do that? And he said, and you're worried about your finances. He said, I'll tell you about your finances. He said, if the moths don't get it, the rust will. And if the moth and rust don't get it, thieves will steal it. And one day you'll leave it all anyway. Well, he could have added if he'd been a contemporary preacher was, and if the moth and rust don't get it and the thieves don't get it, the IRS most definitely will. Well, the point he's making is this, that people are worried about their lives. They want to make their lives secure. So how do we make our lives secure? By making sure our finances are right, by making sure we eat all the right food, by making sure we look after our fitness. In other words, all these things that we think are life.